Lewis was eventually found at a friend's house. That same friend told the officers that Lewis had already confessed to him about taking Mark's life.
What the your own homie, bro. What the? Yo, bro. Yo, this is actually crazy. YouTube channels abandoned for disturbing reasons.
Alexander Dean was a 24-year-old aspiring bodybuilder living in Belgium who spent nearly 2 years documenting his fitness journey on YouTube. His channel was small, with most videos only reaching a few hundred views, but the goal behind it was clear.
Okay.
Alex wanted to build a career around bodybuilding. So, like many fitness creators,
Bro, he's pretty huge, bro.
Uploaded workout routines, training sessions, physique updates, and dieting content. At first glance, there was nothing unusual about him or his channel. There were no public controversies or viral moments, and nothing to suggest it would one day become connected to one of Belgium's most disturbing criminal cases.
Whoa.
One upload, however, stood out from the rest. In a video
Why does he have a sword in the top, yo? Maybe we should have suspected something.
titled Alex Dean Rant, Daily Thoughts, Future, uploaded on July 20th, 2017, he discussed his plans for the future. In it, he discussed his life ahead, mentioning that his plan A was bodybuilding, but he also had a plan B, which, in his words, didn't look pretty.
Hello?
So yeah, right now I'm just not sure what to do with everything, you know?
Be a bodybuilder, bro.
Like, normally I would not have a plan B. This is my plan A. You know, the store and everything and bodybuilding.
Okay.
But you always gotta have plan B.
Honestly, I think bodybuilding should be his plan B, or I guess A/B, and pursue education at the same time, bro.
But my plan B does not look pretty. So
A few users noticed him to be unusually down and expressed support in the comments. But after that exchange, the channel carried on as usual. Alex uploaded 2 new videos the very next day.
Okay.
However, this was followed by silence. At the time, there was little to no reason for anyone to think something was wrong.
Yeah.
Alex wasn't a full-time creator, and the channel had less than 200 subscribers.
Damn, so, okay, basically you're trying to say he's irrelevant, bro? Yo, dude, that's messed up. But either way, yeah, he could have been taking a break.
So taking a break was in no way unusual. Moreover, even some of the biggest creators sometimes disappear for weeks without ever explaining why.
Corey Kenshin.
But what almost no one knew was that in the early hours of July 22nd, Alex had uploaded another video to YouTube separate from his usual training content. He was visibly distressed, talking about a girl he had recently broken up with, an 18-year-old named Mylis Descamps. The video has since been
And how old is this man, by the way? 18 years old? Is he also 18? Is he,
taken down, but at the time, sitting on a channel with a very small audience,
I don't want to be the guy who's jumping the gun, but he looks like a cool, like, 28.
went virtually unnoticed. Alex and Mylis had been together for around a year and a half, but by the summer of 2017, their relationship had come to an end, and Alex struggled to accept the breakup. After several unsuccessful attempts to convince Mylis to come back, he began to spiral. He started following Mylis everywhere.
Oh my
He
God,
showed up at her
no,
workplace, lurked around her family's property, and confronted her at her neighbor's house. Mylis's parents
Yo, how can you be so dependent on somebody to get this far?
reported all of this to police multiple times, including calls to emergency services.
Okay.
2 investigations were opened into his behavior, but Alex was never once taken into custody. When Alex's attempts failed to move Mylis, his desperation turned into a dangerous obsession.
Bro, he already had a dangerous obsession, bro. It's like she broke the One Wish Willow from the movie Obsession. But also, sometimes these people will think, oh, like, why didn't she call the police? Why didn't she blah, blah, blah? And a lot of the times, bro, there are women who call the police, dude, and they won't do nothing, bro. All they'll say is like, oh, leave her alone. If you go back to her again, then you're gonna get punished. Brother, if he goes back to her again, what if that's the last time she's alive?
On July
Like, I feel like when these cases happen in hindsight, bro, the police fumble so bad by just not putting a restraining order or arresting them for stalking.
24th, 2017, Alex traveled to the home of a 39-year-old amateur photographer named Jeroen Verstra. Jeroen had taken suggestive photos of Mylis in the past,
Oh
and
my
Alexander
God.
had been unable to let it go. He later claimed he believed the photographer had physically harmed her, though the court would ultimately question whether that was true or whether the whole thing came down to jealousy. Alex broke into Jeroen's home and waited for him to return. When Jeroen arrived that evening, Alex ambushed him, held him captive for hours, and ultimately killed him. Jeroen's body was discovered the following morning by a
This makes no sense at all. If you have beef with the dude, why are you waiting for the breakup to then do that? Does he think that, like, oh, secretly this guy who's taking explicit pictures with my girlfriend consensually, I'm assuming, is the reason for the breakup? I don't get it, bro.
colleague. By then, Alex had already fled the scene, leaving behind no evidence that could connect him to the murder. The next day, on July 25th, Miley's came home to her family's house and noticed a shadow moving inside.
Oh my god, oh my god.
She'd been through this enough times to know what it meant. She hid in the bushes outside and called her mother, who was away on a trip, and told—
Yo, that is so sad. The fact that she knows exactly what to do because this man keeps, like, being a serial harasser is freaking crazy.
her she was certain Alex had broken into the house again. Unable to get there herself, her mother asked Miley's grandparents, who lived nearby, to go to the house. When the three of them went inside, they found Alex already waiting.
Oh my god.
At gunpoint, he forced them to sit at the table before making a chilling declaration. "I did it yesterday. I'm doing it again today." Only later would
Grandparents at gunpoint. Holy shit, dude.
investigators realize he was confessing to Jeroen's murder in real time. What followed was a tense, drawn-out conversation at the table. Miley's grandfather told him to leave his granddaughter alone and that no one needed to get hurt. Throughout this time, Miley's mother had been calling the house repeatedly. At one point,
Bro,
she
you gotta call the cops, bro. They're not gonna pick up the freaking phone right now. They're at gunpoint.
reached the landline, and
Obviously, she doesn't know that, though.
Alex picked up. She told him the police were on their way. She also called a neighbor to check on the house, but Alex slammed the door in his face and the neighbor ran to call the police.
Oh my god.
Shortly after that call, Alex attacked.
See, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think that it might have been a good idea to alert him that the police are coming. Now he knows he's gonna get caught if he doesn't do something fast, so you might as well shoot somebody, bro.
Unfortunately, by the time police arrived, Alex had already fled the scene, leaving behind Miley's and her grandparents lifeless on the floor.
No, dude. Oh my god, I thought that they were gonna survive that. I thought that he wasn't gonna do it.
A man who—
Rest in peace, bro. Freaking roid rage meathead, dude.
just days earlier—
Stalker, weirdo, obsessive. How do you love somebody so much that it turns into something like that? This could never be love. You never loved her. All it was obsession. You wanted to control her. You wanted to own her as a human. I could never be convinced that this was true love ever if you're gonna ever do this.
had been known only to a handful of people as a small-time fitness YouTuber, was now the most wanted suspect in one of Belgium's most disturbing criminal cases. A nationwide manhunt was launched, and the next day he was arrested at a supermarket. As the investigators pieced together the previous 2 days, it became increasingly—
At a supermarket too? Yeah, this dude gotta be a psycho, bro. Because, like, certain cases where these people are able to, like, just act as if everything is normal, bro, that's how you clearly know something is wrong with them psychologically. I don't know if they're sociopathic, psychopathic, something pathic. I don't know what it is. They got something, bro. Like the David case where he's able to just go on tour right after he did what he did to Celeste, rest in peace. Crazy stuff. These people are weird, dude. It's a shame to even call them humans.
clear that Alex had been planning this depraved crime for several days. In a text conversation with a friend sent before the murders, he had written that he was about to do the dumbest thing he'd ever done and described ending Miley's life as a way of protecting her, saying—
So the homeboy you DM'd this to, he should be held accountable for this partially as well. You didn't alert nobody. You didn't tell nobody nothing. Some of y'all be deriding your homies and glazing them way too freaking much, not being able to tell them no. Like, this is like an extreme case, but holy shit, bro.
he'd rather protect her forever by hurting her once. Looking back, his sudden disappearance from his YouTube channel wasn't a break. It was the point where his obsession and insanity, which he hinted at in Plan B, moved off camera and into real life.
Oh my god, that was the plan B the whole time.
In May
It wasn't going to college, it wasn't getting another job. His plan B was going and freaking harassing his girlfriend and ending her life.
2022, nearly 5 years after the murders, a Belgian jury found Alexander Dean guilty of murdering Jeroen Verstra, Miley's Decamp, and her grandparents. He was sentenced to life in prison.
See ya.
Yet,
A YouTube channel abandoned for disturbing reasons? Yeah, hopefully we never see your face ever again on the platform, bro.
his YouTube channel was never taken down, and to this date, his videos are available online as an—
We will not be watching, bro. We are good. We don't give a damn about your intense raw chest and delts or whatever. Maybe this will help you protect yourself in jail, and not getting touched in there or something. I don't know.
unsettling record of a young man's descent from ambition into obsession, with one upload where he publicly confessed his intentions days before committing the horrific crimes.
Maybe if we watch the videos from him, I don't want to watch them, but I'm just saying, we'll get more of an idea of his personality, because he might have been one of them like incel, red pill, like weirdo dudes. And I feel like in crimes where men are committing against women, a lot of the times, bro, they're like incel weirdos, and they have like this crazy toxic mindset where you could like kind of see a weird crime coming. Maybe not at this level, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean.
On February 20th, 2019, a teenager from Uckfield in England named Mark Williams made a YouTube channel to document his
Uckfield? What the hell is that, bro?
love for parkour and urban exploration.
Oh no.
Although the channel started as Rooftop Legends, then changed to RoofTube, Mark eventually settled on the name Displace.
Oh my god, bro. Don't tell me this is gonna end in somebody freaking falling from the Empire State Building.
In his initial videos, Mark was accompanied by his younger brother as they visited different sites in the area. And even from those first uploads,
irresponsible and low-key L older brother too for allowing your little brother to do this. If I was doing something risky like this for content, I know for damn sure I wouldn't be involving somebody who's younger and influencing them.
two things are immediately clear. One was that this wasn't a harmless hobby. Whether he was scaling rooftops or being chased off by security guards, every upload showed that what Mark was doing carried real risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, she must be calling the police. Straight up there, run! No! Oh, wait.
The other was that Mark genuinely loved what he was doing. The effort he put into filming, editing, and documenting each adventure made it obvious that this was something he was deeply passionate about.
Okay.
But Mark was also a teenager who wanted more than anything to find people he could fit in with. Years later, his mother would describe him as someone who craved friendship and was far too trusting of the people around him.
Wow, okay, so he wanted friends, but then why is parkour his outlet for friendship? I don't understand. Why not like talk to people in real life if you don't have anybody in real life? Maybe get on the internet, try to make friends?
This detail would eventually become one of the most heartbreaking parts of his story.
Damn, okay.
When his younger brother gradually stepped away from the channel, Mark's uploads grew inconsistent, and slowly his regular posting schedule fell apart. Then, on November 1st, 2020, Mark uploaded a video titled, "This Place is Returning," explaining that he'd bought an action cam to film properly and was committing to a regular schedule again.
Maybe he's just doing this type of content just for attention, as in this gets the most views, so now he's gonna do it because he doesn't have friendship in his life. That is really, really
I
sad.
promise you, this place is coming back. I'm getting a new action cam.
But then, like, as a parent, bro, if you know your kid is doing this, bro, this is L parenting, bro. I would never allow this. Even if my kid had no friends, bro, we're putting you in some type of... I'm gonna force people to be friends with you somehow, bro. We're gonna go... I'm gonna put a freaking flyer out and start taking pictures and sticking it on walls and be like, help, my son needs a friend. Call this number if you want to be his friend. Something, bro. I'm not letting him do this. Hell no.
I'm getting a new action cam, and I'm gonna hit some serious videos. Not like the ones I used to before, I mean proper ones. I'm just getting myself back in shape again. Especially during the night as well, no one can see me up here.
He also mentioned that the reason he'd been away was that he'd applied to become a police community support officer and had been rejected.
Sorry about the long time. I applied to be a PCSO for some reason and I got rejected, so now, you know, I'm coming back.
Well, I mean, to be fair, on the bright side, maybe if they found out about your videos, you would have got arrested, so.
Properly coming back, right.
True to his word, Mark started posting consistently, at times sometimes posting 4 or 5 videos a week.
Oh yeah.
As the channel gained some momentum and built a small audience, some viewers started watching him regularly and even wrote in to suggest where he should explore next. Among those admirers was 19-year-old Lewis Ashdown. Lewis shared Mark's love of parkour and filming and commented under one of Mark's videos that he was from the same area and would love to meet up and film together sometime.
Okay, so now he's gonna get his first friend, WW.
That day came on the 9th of December 2020, when Mark posted a video exploring Uckfield's water treatment plan, joined for the first time by Lewis.
Hi guys, I'm back here with Lewis, and we're going to do the water treatment facility in Uckfield.
Random off topic, he's got a Call of Duty Ghost hoodie on. If anybody over the age of 22 probably is watching this video, then you probably know what this game is. This game was massively hated, but I honestly kind of enjoyed it.
On the industrial estate.
The two got along immediately, and from that point on, Lewis became a regular in Mark's videos. But not long after, Mark took another break from the channel. He explained why in a live stream, saying he was feeling discouraged.
I am not sure where my channel is going to go. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing these videos. I don't know if I'm going to be doing different videos, or whether I'm going to stop completely. At this point in time, I don't know. I've been trained to get my SIA license over the past couple of weeks, and I can't really risk that.
Okay, so for anybody watching this video currently who has like aspiring dreams of content creation or whatever, I'm responding to him in this moment, but what I would say to somebody like this is your content should be positive, fun, enjoyable. Your content should never be at the expense of other people. Your content should never be at the expense of other people, like harassing them, doing public weird stuff. And it shouldn't be at the expense of your own health, like consuming crazy types of crazy foods or doing substances or risking your life for parkour. Find other ways to be entertaining and be consistent with that, and it will pay off. I promise you.
But I'm not sure at the moment. I need to talk with Lewis some more, work something out.
However, during this stream, Lewis joined under the username AdmiralUnknown1499 and started pushing Mark to keep going, throwing out ideas for future videos and suggesting new spots to film. Upon seeing these comments, Mark visibly lit up and started talking about what they were going to film together. Over the next month,
Damn, because he just wants a friend, bro.
Mark uploaded 2 more videos, walking around more abandoned sites with Lewis and laughing together. What Mark didn't know at the time was that these 2 clips would be the last he'd ever film.
Oh my God,
On
no.
May 29th, 2021, he had planned to meet up with Lewis to discuss a few ideas for the future. But when he found out that Mark had brought his younger brother along, Lewis said he didn't feel comfortable and didn't show up.
Okay.
He later convinced Mark to meet him alone in a different area. The 2 ended up drinking together, and even though Mark rarely drank, Lewis kept pushing him to have more. At
Oh my God, are they gonna do drunk parkour?
11:30 p.m., Mark called his aunt to say he was on his way home. She could hear Lewis in the background, telling her he'd make sure Mark got back safe. But Mark never made it home. And when several hours passed with no word from either of them, their families reported them both missing.
Huh?
For a small town like Uckfield, 2 people vanishing at the same time was almost unheard of.
It's one thing if one of them goes missing, then you could say maybe one of the other ones did something to the other. How did they both?
The first assumption was that they'd gone exploring somewhere dangerous and gotten hurt. Being what they were into, it wasn't hard to imagine them climbing something they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just had too much to drink in the woods and couldn't find their way back. But when investigators went to Lewis's house, they found bloodied clothing stuffed inside a wardrobe.
Oh my
Forensics
God.
confirmed the blood was Mark's. This instantly turned the missing person case into a potential murder investigation.
Yeah, off the rip. And then where's Lewis?
Lewis was eventually found at a friend's house. That same friend told the officers that Lewis had already confessed to him about taking Mark's life.
What the Your own homie, bro. What the? Yo, bro. Yo, this is actually crazy.
In the days after the attack, Lewis turned up drunk and admitted he had done something terrible.
Why though?
He then pulled out his phone and played a series of clips he'd filmed while committing the gruesome act. Officers recovered a total of 7 clips from Lewis's phone. They were filmed over roughly an hour and were so disturbing that the court later ruled the footage too harrowing to be shown. But that left everyone with a single question.
Bro, never trust, bro. Especially people over the internet. This would make me never trust anybody, bro.
Why did Lewis decide to take his friend's life? The easiest explanation was that the night just went wrong. Mark almost never drank, and he'd spent hours in the woods.
The night went wrong? No, bro, that's not an explanation enough for somebody to make an entire hour-long video of them murdering and then portraying it and then glorifying it to the point where it's not even usable in court because it's that gruesome. That's not a simple just drunk thought that, oh, I happened to chug a few beers too much and then now I'm gonna just kill somebody, bro, and then do all that. No, he probably had these thoughts and had this plan way earlier.
Heavily intoxicated with someone he trusted. And considering how easily alcohol can turn an ordinary evening between 2 young men into something ugly.
And he would have been like horrified when he got caught. No, he was just chilling at a homie's crib.
It's not hard to imagine how a simple argument or a shove could have escalated into real violence before it spiraled out of control.
Wow.
But the issue with this theory is that Lewis had specifically made sure Mark met him alone, which made the attack look less like a sudden drunken argument and more like something he may have been planning for some
I forgot about that. That's facts. That's facts. Yo, check his phone.
time. There was also the question of jealousy. Over the previous months, Lewis had worked his way from a stranger in the comments to a regular in nearly every video Mark made. But it was always Mark's name on the channel, Mark's audience, and Mark that people were watching for. So it doesn't take a lot of thinking to imagine resentment festering beneath that on-camera friendship. Both these theories were reasonable to some extent, and both, at the very least, gave the killing something that resembled a reason. But both turned out to be wrong, because Lewis later told people that Mark, quote, annoyed him and deserved to be killed.
Oh my God, you killed your homeboy because he was annoying. Dude, do you know how many times our homies have annoyed us? This is actually not real. This is actually not real, bro. We all have annoying ass homeboys, bro. Yeah, this kid definitely psychological, psychopathic, sociopathic, whatever pathic again, bro. You're crazy as, bro.
He said he felt good doing it and didn't want to stop. The judge who sentenced him said we may never fully understand why he did it.
He's mentally insane. He has to be on surveillance the rest of his life.
Lewis pleaded guilty to murder in 2021 and was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 27 years. At sentencing, Mark's mother told the court that all her son ever wanted was a friend.
Oh my gosh, bro. This just makes it even worse. This is like a story in a movie or something. He just wanted a friend. Rest in peace to Mark, dude. I guess this just goes to show you cannot trust people over the internet, and parasocial fans, at the end of the day, are not your friends, bro.
He was too trusting of the people around him. That trust is what cost him his life.
He was so desperate for friendship that he was willing to let anybody in his life. And then when he did let that person in his life, the one person he did ended up snaking him in the worst way possible. Rest in peace once again.
To this day, his channel is exactly as he left it. And all the videos with Lewis still show the same sense of friendship. Only now, viewers know what Lewis's intentions had been the whole time.
Bro. Rest in peace.
In April 2013, 31-year-old Jared Miller created a YouTube channel to keep what was essentially a digital diary. Most of the uploads were of Jared filming his two cats, Leonardo and Oreo, as they played with each other.
Look at them.
Oh,
so cute.
no.
You guys are so cute. What you
Yo, I got two cats as well.
doing?
But the longer you watch, the more you realize something is seriously wrong with this channel. Because in between these cat videos, Jared would suddenly drift into long and at times disturbing rants about the government.
Oh.
For example, in a video titled Oreo, Leonardo, and Drones, he randomly started talking about a conspiracy theory magazine and how the government was spying on people.
Drones?
Right. Check this out. This is quite disturbing. This is drones.
Okay.
Are they watching you? This is a whole magazine on drones.
At the time, Jared already had a long history of feeling trapped by authority. He had been arrested repeatedly over the years, with charges connected to guns, drugs, and assault.
Damn.
By the time he was posting these videos, he was
Yo,
on
he got an ankle monitor on? Yo, this is a YN thug. Get him out the streets.
house arrest for selling illegal substances, confined inside his apartment with nowhere to go. And this apartment happened to sit directly across from the county courthouse, which became a strange fixation for him.
Here's
Oh, so he's gonna think they're always watching him.
my front window here. I can look out my front window. And you look a little closer. There you go, right in the middle.
I mean, it's kind of far away, though.
Below that frame, that is the courthouse. It's a beautiful
Okay.
building.
You're oddly familiar with it, huh? You've been arrested a couple times, buddy.
So it is a monument to authoritarianism. You gotta go get your marriage license. You gotta go get gun permits. Whatever it is, you have to go down to that big stone structure monument to tyranny.
Yo, niggas will start coming up with anything talking about the government, buddy. Just stop assaulting people. How about that? What?
And submit. Crawling and groveling on your hands and knees. Oh, give me permission to do this. Give me permission to do that.
Okay.
To any viewer randomly finding this video back in 2013, it may have sounded like just another obscure anti-government rambling buried somewhere on YouTube. But when you watch these uploads together, they start to feel like a record of Jared's thoughts tightening around him. In July 2013, he posted a series of videos of him speaking directly to his wife, Amanda Miller, while also crying about how much he missed her as he served his time. But even in that emotional
Yo, are you good, bro? You're sweating.
state, his obsession found its way back in, as he blamed the misery in his life on what he called the New World Order. Once his sentence was over, Jared and Amanda left their home in Indiana and headed west in early 2014. They first settled in Las Vegas, where they tried to make money by dressing as characters for tourists. Amanda performed as Harley Quinn, while Jared often dressed up as the Joker. Jared would
Yo,
also
he looks like Jared Leto, the Joker.
use the same Joker costume to make more videos for his YouTube channel.
I'm the Joker, and I'm running for president because year after year I've watched you Americans.
In the video, Jared
Is
pretended
he just gonna spit like anti-government, like a bunch of conspiracy theories as the Joker? That's kind of funny.
to run for president, promising his viewers total and utter tyranny while
Hey,
treating
with the way our government's looking right now, you got a chance if you want to run for president, buddy.
destruction of the country like a campaign platform.
You will know exactly what you get. Total and utter tyranny. I want to make everybody submit to one world order governance under my rule.
Yo, you played this role a little too good, bro. I think he been wanting to do this.
Not these pathetic little puppets they got right now. No, seriously, just vote for me, America.
He grinned through the whole thing and called it tyranny on a madman scale, selling mass violence as if it were a joke his audience was in on. Though the video was meant to be satire, no one watching at the time
Is it though? Like, people be saying satire or anything. I don't know. He seemed a little into that, bro. He watched a lot of Joker growing up because he played it perfect.
realized it also foreshadowed the horrific things these beliefs would eventually push Jared to do. And in April of 2014, he finally found a place where those beliefs seemed to have a purpose. He and Amanda traveled to the Bundy Ranch standoff in Nevada, where armed protesters had gathered against the federal government over a long-running land dispute.
Don't tell me, bro.
For Jared, this looked like the beginning of the revolution he'd been waiting for. But even there, surrounded by armed anti-government protesters, Jared and Amanda stood out for the wrong reasons. Before long, they were asked to leave because their views were considered too radical, even by people who had already taken up arms against federal authority.
Okay.
So they returned to Las Vegas with nowhere left for their anger to go. By then, Jared had spent more than a year recording himself framing the government as an enemy and fantasizing about some sort of revolution. And on the
Yo,
morning
you gotta watch people like this, bro. The FBI, they be sleeping and snoozing. Because, dude, this guy probably had all types of threat against the government.
of June 8th, 2014, they tried to force that fantasy into existence. Jared and Amanda put on tactical gear, filled duffel bags with weaponry, and
Oh my
walked into
God.
a CC's Pizza on North Nellis Boulevard, where 2 Metro officers, Alan Beck and Igor Soldo, were eating lunch.
On lunch break eating pizza? Yo, dude, if you want to deconstruct the government, all these extra things, and talk about the political and economic state of the world, I get it. But 2 citizens, security, police officer dudes, that does nothing. It doesn't start a revolution. It doesn't do anything. You're just freaking a murderer. You were just straight up a murderer of an innocent life, bro. Go to a government building and start protesting. You will do way more work than whatever the hell he was trying to do here, bro. He was just trying to be like, he was watching too many freaking weird movies, dude.
At around 11:30 a.m., they passed the officer's table, turned back, and before they even had a chance to react, lost their lives. And to carry this revolution forward, the couple crossed the street to a nearby Walmart where they threatened people to leave. By it, a shopper named Joseph Wilcox moved toward Jared to try and stop him. Unfortunately, Joseph didn't realize Amanda was behind him, and she took his life before he could
Okay, see, now you're not even applying your own morality and your own logic. You're just killing people for no reason.
intervene. Minutes later, 2 teams of officers arrived at the scene and blocked all the exits. As they entered the building, Jared and Amanda would begin to fight back. However, they were outnumbered and outmaneuvered as the officers pushed them into a small corner. The standoff lasted almost 24 minutes before Jared lost his life. Amanda was also found to have suffered a similar fate. But even after all this,
See ya, buddy.
investigators still didn't fully understand what Jared and Amanda had been trying to achieve.
They were trying to make the news, headlines or something. Or they were just genuinely sick in the head and there's no explanation. And also, regardless of how anybody who watches this video feels about police officers, whatever, it is objectively sad and objectively wrong that they lost their lives in that moment. We should all be able to agree on that. Rest in peace to them, and rest in peace to the dude who tried to step in Walmart. He is also a hero.
That part only became clear when officers searched their apartment and found a detailed plan to ambush a courthouse, take it by force, and wreak havoc on the officials inside. And suddenly, Jared's old video about the courthouse outside his window felt less like a meaningless rant and more like a blueprint he'd been filming in plain sight. The tyranny
Because there's certain stuff you just can't put on YouTube, otherwise your video's gonna get taken down or whatever. So you was probably thinking of way worse stuff and just keeping it tame for YouTube.
promised in Joker makeup as a joke turned out to be more real than anyone watching earlier could have imagined.
Wow,
So,
true.
while the attack ended inside a Walmart, the warning signs had been sitting on his YouTube channel for more than a year, slowly building toward a horrific tragedy that took 3 innocent lives.
Wow, bro. Rest in peace to those people, dude.
Mitchell Dang was a 25-year-old woman from Norcross, a quiet suburb just outside Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh.
She was born into a Vietnamese family and still lived at home with her
Any Vietnamese people watching this? Xin chào, xin chào.
parents and 2 sisters. After finishing high school, Mitchell worked several different jobs before eventually becoming a lash technician at a local boutique. Outside of work, she also had a small self-titled YouTube channel, which would end up being watched for the most unsettling reasons.
What?
Most of her videos were about makeup, online shopping, vacations, and occasionally vlogs from her everyday life. It was just Mitchell documenting small pieces of her life and sharing it with her small audience.
Okay, so how could this possibly go wrong? That's my question, because these seem like regular, everyday instances.
So, on Saturday, August 26, 2023, when she posted a vlog about getting ready for a concert at Alley Cat Atlanta, there was nothing about it that seemed out of the ordinary.
One thing I will say though, for people who are posting a lot about their life, you got to be careful with what you're showing, like your car, your license plates, your addresses, inside of your home, outside of your home. This is probably a lot worse for women, but it just in general for humans of all genders, right? Be careful with what you're showing and where you're telling people you're going to go, because your small audience that you might think are innocent and you don't know where they're from, they could be a stalker right down the street waiting to come and get you up. If you're saying, oh, I'm going to go to this concert, blah, 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 somebody out there knows.
Shirt, and then I'm wearing a black mini skirt. I'm just going to go and dance my heart away.
She was showing off her outfit and looking forward to having a good time. But unfortunately, this wouldn't be the case. After having dinner with her family, she left home and drove into downtown Atlanta, only to never come back home.
What happened?
At first, when she hadn't returned by the next morning, her family wasn't particularly worried. She was 25 years old. It was a Sunday, and crashing at a friend's place after a late night out wasn't unusual for her.
Right.
But when Monday came and went with no word, her family started fearing the worst. And a couple of days later, that fear was answered by a police visit. Because on Wednesday morning, someone else had found Mitchell first.
What?
At around 7 a.m. on Wednesday, August 30th, a parking attendant was cleaning a downtown garage when he noticed a foul smell drifting through the structure. He followed it toward one of the stairwells. and hidden deep beneath the stairs, he found the remains of a young woman.
Oh my
He called
God.
the police immediately, but it was difficult to
That is traumatizing for him.
identify her right away. The only thing they had to work with was a small detail on her right wrist, a wristband from Alley Cat, Atlanta. This helped officers identify the victim as Mitchell, who had been missing since the night of the concert. But identifying Mitchell only made the scene more confusing. Officers couldn't find her car anywhere inside that garage, so they now had to figure out why she ended up in a building she had no clear reason to be in. Officers combed through hours of grainy surveillance footage from the area, and the one thing that finally let them pick Mitchell out of a crowd was the very outfit she'd modeled for her viewers just hours earlier in her cheerful vlog on her channel. At some point after the show, Mitchell had gotten separated from her friends and was walking alone, struggling to find her car while she was visibly intoxicated. That's when a stranger approached her and offered to help. At first, she tried to wave him off, but the man kept following her and insisting that he could help.
Where are her friends, though?
Till eventually Mitchell allowed him to walk with her. According to official reports, he then led her toward the parking deck, where she was later found, which possibly means he may have used the fact that Mitchell wasn't sober to make himself seem harmless long enough to get her somewhere isolated. And once they were inside the stairwell, he turned on her.
I need to know that he got caught and he faced justice, bro.
Investigators later found that Mitchell's death was caused by acts of violence. Afterward, investigators used the same surveillance footage, along with transit records and other evidence, to identify the man as 24-year-old Jacavius Arnold and arrested him on
Jacavius Arnold, bro. Just look at this dude.
September 22nd. But even after his arrest, they still didn't understand the full extent of what they were dealing with. According to police testimony, Jacavius admitted that Mitchell was not his first victim. He described approaching other vulnerable women at night, presenting himself as someone willing to help, before turning on them the moment they were isolated.
How does this man able to just do this multiple times, and you gotta wait till somebody dies for him to finally get caught?
Jacavius Arnold was later found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. As for Mitchell's family, the video she had uploaded on her channel to share her excitement for a night of music became the last recorded memory of her life.
That is so sad, bro. I can imagine the family members like wanting to watch these videos, replay it, because it is their relative in their vulnerable moment showing themselves off on the internet, you know, personality wise. It's just so sad, bro. If this, I can think of myself in the situation, like I would probably just cry every time seeing this dude. It would never change.
Austin Harrouff was a 19-year-old college student from Palm Beach County, Florida. On paper, his life seemed like it was moving in a fairly normal direction. He had graduated from Suncoast High School, enrolled at Florida State University to study biology, and developed a growing interest in fitness and bodybuilding. Then, in March 2016, he launched a YouTube channel called
W album cover right here, if you know, you know.
Called A Frost, where he began uploading videos of his workouts and fitness journey. His first upload was a straightforward guide about dieting and weightlifting, aimed at anyone hoping to get in shape.
Today, I'm going to be talking about fitness as a whole and the challenges it brings. Okay?
Yup.
Even though the video was clearly amateurly filmed and edited, Austin came across as articulate, confident, and genuinely passionate about fitness.
The most important supplements out there are definitely creatine for bulking, creatine and protein. I mean, protein
as a supplement? Protein powder?
Is important for anybody. And look at the nutrition labels. If they don't have it on there, enter it in yourself. You know, you gotta stay dedicated if you want to be the best.
Yep.
Nothing in life that's easy is worth having.
But that first video would end up being the most normal thing Austin Harrouff ever posted. Almost immediately afterward, the channel took a completely different turn. Instead of continuing with simple workout advice, Austin started uploading rap music under the name Austy Frosty.
Let a white boy have some swag, bro. Maybe he wants to be a rapper now. I mess with it.
At first, this could have been dismissed as a college student experimenting with music.
Right.
But the more he uploaded, the harder it became to tell how much of it was supposed to be a joke. They had almost no sense of professionalism. But Austin kept posting them with the seriousness of someone who seemed to
trapping out the garage. Now in love, very take a ride.
Believe he was creating something much bigger than it looked. When he eventually returned to making fitness videos, he was acting very different.
Hello fellow lifters, today I'm going to talk about persistence.
You ain't Russian? What the hell?
He no longer came across as the composed teenager from his first upload. His personality had become increasingly exaggerated, almost as if he were slipping into a character that grew stranger with every new video.
Right, that's it for the day, fellas and ladies and gentlemen. More dieting advice will be coming soon. Hello, bros. It's Austy Frosty, man. You gotta listen to the personal trainer's advice, but you gotta find your way too, man. You gotta.
What if he's just trying to be funny, bro?
Learn for yourself. You can't just hope and pray that someone is just gonna.
It was becoming impossible to tell whether Austin was performing a character or slowly losing himself to one. On their own, these moments could be brushed off as awkward attempts at humor.
Yeah.
But when you watch the videos in order, they start to feel like a visual presentation of a person whose thoughts were slowly starting to drift out of order. And what no one watching his videos at the time realized was that the changes appearing on camera were only a part of something far darker happening off screen. Around this same time, Austin's family and friends also began noticing that his personality was changing. By the summer of 2016, Austin was experiencing intense paranoia, unusual religious thoughts, and what he described as demons and monsters approaching him from the shadows.
Is he dealing with like schizophrenia, something like this?
His search history also showed that on some level he seemed to understand something was wrong, as he looked up things like mania, hallucinations, and am I going crazy?
Oh my gosh.
And for a moment, it looked like Austin might be pulling himself back together. Because on August 12th, 2016, he uploaded a video explaining that he no longer wanted to follow famous bodybuilders. Instead, he wanted to believe in himself.
Huh?
What's up, guys? I just want to let you know that I came to a realization of something. I no longer want to follow Arnold or any other bodybuilder.
So far, I feel like from his YouTube content, this can just be chalked up to being like an edgy college teen, college kid. So I don't think I would suspect anything weird unless I knew something in hindsight.
I want to follow myself, you know?
Okay.
I want to actually believe in myself. Not in... I want to learn from other things, other people, other bodybuilders and stuff. But I just know that they're not me, you know? I know what's right for me.
This was perhaps the first time since his original fitness video that Austin appeared grounded again. He sounded calmer and he seemed more positive, but in hindsight, that calm demeanor may have been the most alarming sign of all. Around this same period, Austin had told his family he believed he was like Jesus and would one day be worshipped and that he possessed superpowers. Looking back, the confidence he projected on camera no longer seemed like ordinary self-belief.
Yeah, there's a difference between confidence and delusion.
It increasingly mirrored the grandiose belief that he was expressing in real life. And during that same week, his paranoia became impossible for his family to ignore. Austin told them evil forces were inside the house and began sleeping near his sister because he believed he needed to protect her from whatever was coming.
See, at this point, immediately, I feel like as a parent, you gotta like realize there's something going wrong with him. He gotta get mental help.
And on August 15th, 2016, everything spiraled completely out of control. That evening, Austin went to dinner with his father at a restaurant in Jupiter, Florida. But he barely made it through being seated before something inside him seemed to snap. Unfortunately, by then, it was already too late.
What happened?
Shortly after, Austin returned to the restaurant, had an argument with his father, and fled a second time, frantically running off on foot. He later described being chased by a dark figure with a white face. At some point,
Slender Man?
He saw a light in the distance and sprinted toward it, believing it would save him. But in reality, that light was coming from the open garage of a home where 59-year-old John Stevens and 53-year-old Michelle Mishkin were relaxing for the evening.
No.
And as soon as he reached the garage, Austin attacked them, thrashing and biting in a way so violent and senseless that a neighbor, Jeff Fisher, came rushing over after hearing their scream.
Oh my god, they're probably gonna shoot him, bro. And you can't even blame him because he's just a random person attacking, doing deadly bites.
But when he tried to intervene, Austin attacked him as well. When the officers finally arrived at the scene, it took multiple deputies, a police dog, and an electric stun device to finally pull Austin away. John and Michelle lost their lives at the scene, while Jeff survived with serious injuries.
From bites? Bro, how hard was he freaking biting? Oh my gosh, dude, rest in peace.
At first, investigators assumed his behavior had been caused by some kind of hard drug, but the toxicology results didn't show anything like that. That finding became one of several reasons the case took an unexpected turn.
Wow.
Later, after years of evaluations, mental health experts concluded that Austin had suffered an acute psychotic episode and had no grasp of reality at the time of the attack.
So now his life is ruined. He has the death of somebody else on his conscience. Is he like back to like a normal state now, or is he permanently like that?
Looking back, the character as viewers thought they'd been watching him play in weeks before the incident was in fact an untreated illness surfacing in real time until it transformed into something completely inhumane.
Bro.
Austin was originally...
What can you even do about that? You can't even sit up here and blame him. He's going through a manic, psychotic episode. There's nothing he could have did. He wasn't on any substances. He wasn't on any drugs. The only thing you could have possibly say is that his parents should have put him in some type of therapy earlier, nipped this in the bud before it got crazier.
Charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and burglary.
I think if you're a parent watching this video, or just anybody in general, use this as a teaching tool that when somebody is going through some type of like psychotic episodes, or they seem to be off or whatever, immediately get help and put them in the proper thing, because you don't want it to get like this where his life is now ruined because he's in jail. 2 people lost their lives. The other person is seriously injured and traumatized.
But in 2022, 6 years after John and Michelle lost their lives, the court found Austin not guilty by reason of insanity and committed him to a secure mental health facility where he'll remain until doctors and a judge determine he no longer poses a danger.
And how do they do that?
For a case this infamous, may very well be never.
Wow.
And as for Austin's channel, it still sits online, revealing the slow descent of a hopeful teenager into complete insanity.
So when they get somebody from prison and they put them into like a mental facility, what is the difference? I'm not saying that mental facility and prison is the same thing, but like technically they're still being surveilled at all times. Do they have freedom? Can they go outside sometimes? Is there like a time difference, curfew? Is the foods different? Is the way they're treated a little differently? I would like to know. That last story was very different than the other story. Well, that's gonna do it for today's video. That was disturbing reasons why YouTube channels were abandoned. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, join Discord, link in the description. Let me know what you want to check out next in the comment section down below. Link me anything you want me to watch. And with that being said, it's Love Hello. I love you, and I'm out.